network based intrusion detection system. Components of network based intrusion detection system. आप लोगों को क्लियर दिख रहा है बोर्ड?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Write down components of network based IDS system. So in this components of network based IDS system, write down the first one. Write down the first one. It is header signature. Header signature. The second one is port signature. The third one is string signature. Fourth one is checksum violation. And the fifth one is file permission violation. So these are the components of network based. So as far as network based IDS system is concerned, we should know these 5 components. Okay. So what is the header signature? What is the header signature? Now mostly we are dealing with the packets which are coming into and which is going out of the network. So whenever you are talking about these packets may be normal packets, or these packets may be because of intrusion. Okay, so the packets may be normal packets, or it can be intruder packets, the packets which are intruded. So actually your IDS system is monitoring which are the normal packets and which are the intruder packets. So to know this, we have a header signature. This header signature is nothing but you have a header. If you are writing down any file, you have a header and you have a footer. Header signature will give you the person who is sending that message will give its own header signature, so that you will be able to understand this is a particular message with the so and so person's ID or his own header signature. So you can distinguish which is a normal packet or which is an intruder packet if you know who is the sender. Similarly, the port signature. So the port signature means if you see the different protocols, every protocol is having the port number. Like you have HTTP, you have TCP. So you will understand these all the protocols when you learn this in CNN computer communication network subject. Okay, so you have different protocols for sending the messages. Okay, like HTTP, FTP, SMTP. Okay, so there are many, and every protocol will have some port. So there is some port signature also associated with that. Then you have a string signature. String signature will give you understanding whether the message which you are sending it is a numerical or it is a string based. Okay, so that is why it is called as a string signature. Then you have a checksum violation. Now this is also important. Checksum is nothing but you are giving some security to the data or to the packets which you are transmitting. How do you give the security? You are adding some redundant bits. You are adding some checksum. That means that so that the data or the packets which you are transmitted should not be violated, or no other person should be able to see this message. Okay, or should not modify the message. So that's why you are adding some checksums. So this is called a checksum violation. And the last one is file permission violation. Sometimes if I am sending some message or packet that is encrypted, that is getting encrypted or with the password, if I am sending that message, I will encrypt that message with some password, and I will ask that the receiver person that so and so is the password. Now mostly we are using this file permission violation whenever if you are filing some if you want to send some confidential file through the mail, if you want to send some confidential file through the mail, the best way is that you protect that file with the password. So that is called as password protected message or the file. You have setting. You can go into the setting and you can password protect your file. Now, if you password protect that file, while sending that file, you can send that mail. The other person will not be able to open this file unless and until he will write the password. He will write the password. So that is called as file permission violation. Okay. So that can be secured whenever you are setting some password to that file. So that is called file permission violation. Okay. So these are the some of the components of network based IDS. Mostly we are dealing with the IDS system, that is intrusion detection system, and we are more concerned with the network based because the files are getting transferred from one network to the other network. That is why it is called as internetworks. Okay. So in that case, we should take this 5 components into consideration. 5 components into consideration. Okay. And the last part is, write down the heading as, the last part is characteristics. So we should know what are the characteristics of a good IDS. If I am saying that I am having an intrusion detection system which is good, so what are the, on what parameter, based on which parameter we can say that we are using the good IDS. So we should know the parameters, or we should know the characteristics. So the last part is characteristics of good IDS. What are the characteristics of good IDS? So here also we have some 6 to 7 points. So we should know what are the different points. Okay. So I won't be elaborating much on this. I will give you the points, and which will be understood by you. Okay. So these are the basic important characteristics of good IDS. The first one is uptime. Uptime means what? Uptime means if I'm using my IDS system and there is some intrusion, okay, that intrusion should be notified as soon as possible. So that is called as uptime. There should not be a huge delay. There should not be a huge delay. So your uptime should be always greater. It should be as greater as possible, so that you will be able to identify the intrusion, or you will be able to identify the packets which are getting intruded. Okay, because of intrusion. Okay, so this is called as uptime. So your uptime should be always high. Your uptime should be always high, so that the delay should be less. So that your delay should be less. The second one is fault tolerance. Fault tolerance. So fault tolerance means if there is some faulty in your IDS system, that should be tolerated. Okay. So fault tolerance means whenever there are some packets which are intruded, which are not normal packets, okay, your IDS should be able to detect such packets which are faulty. Okay, which are faulty. So it is not going to only see the intruder packets, but it is also going to see the packets, the normal packets which are faulty. Okay, because while transmission, it may happen that I am transmitting my 1 0 and I am getting 0 0. So that is called as a faulty packets. So for that I am using my checksum method. But then also, if such packets are faulty, your IDS should be able to detect such faulty packets. So it is fault tolerance. It is called as fault tolerance. The third one, it is the robustness. This is important. Robustness. So in any any condition, it may be good or bad condition, your IDS system, your intrusion detection system should be able to detect the faulty packets or normal and intruder packets. Okay, to perform under good or bad condition, your IDS should be able to perform in the robust condition. It may be critical condition, it may be good condition or bad condition. So that is called as robustness. Okay, that is called as robustness. The fourth one, it is called as performance. The performance of your IDS system should be always high. Okay, so that whenever you're using this IDS system, you should be able to rely on that IDS system. Okay, so you should be more reliable. You should be able to rely on that IDS system. So that because of that, your performance of IDS should be always more. It should be high. The performance should be high. Okay, so these are the points for good IDS. These are the points for good IDS. Okay, the fifth one is that is easy configurability. Easy configurability. Okay, that means I should be able to easily configure my IDS system. Okay, so that should not be so complex task to configure. It should be as easy as possible. So while I am configuring my IDS, it should be easy. It should be easy configurability. Okay, so that is called as easy configure. We will be able to configure easily. So that is the fifth point. The sixth one, easy adaptability. Easy adaptability. So you should be able, your IDS should be able to adapt at different environments. Okay, at different environments. So it should be easily adaptable. So that is the meaning of easy adaptability. And the last one is built-in defense mechanism. Now this last point is regarding the defense mechanism. That is a defense mechanism. It means that it should not only able to detect the intruder packets, but it should provide the defense mechanism so that no intruder packet should be allowed into the system or should be allowed into the network. Okay, I am interested to detect such packets, but I should also have a preventive measures. How do you provide the preventive measures? By having the defense mechanism, by providing the defense mechanism. So your IDS should also have built-in defense mechanism. Not only detection, but prevention also by having built-in defense mechanism. So these are the some points. So if question is asked, the question will be short note questions. What are the characteristics of good IDS? So you can just write down the 7 points and you can elaborate. Okay. So mostly this IDS is based upon how you can provide security into the network where intrusion may happen. So whenever you have intrusion, how do you overcome those intrusion? By using IDS system. Okay, I have told you it is IDS or it is preventive system, intrusion preventive system. Okay, so this is with this we have done with the IDS. Now in 6.1, only one topic is left, that is SMIME. So today I will be talking about SMIME. Shall I rub this part now? So this is everything theoretical, nothing more into the detail. Okay, you can just go through the ebook, you will understand this and write down if the question is asked as a short note question. Okay. Now the next topic, the last topic in 6.1 is SMIME. So we'll see what is SMIME. So that is multi-purpose internet mail extension. Multi-purpose internet mail extension. So it is MIME. MIME. So it stands for multi-purpose internet mail extension. So we'll see what it is MIME. Yes, pay attention now. So this is a particular method, or it is an extension. It is a particular method or it is an extension used whenever you are transmitting the message or you are transmitting the mail. You are transmitting the mail. Mostly, remember that whenever you are transmitting mail, it may be from Gmail, it may be from Rediffmail, or from other account. Whenever you are transmitting the mail, it is getting transmitted by the protocol which is called as SMTP. By the protocol which is called as SMTP. What is SMTP? This is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So whatever the mail you are transmitting from one end to the other end, from one user to the other user, from the person who is sending the mail and the person who is receiving the mail, this will follow some protocol, and that protocol is called as Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. This thing you will study under Computer Communication Network subject. Okay. So whatever the mail you are transmitting, it will be transmitted by this protocol. And what is this SMTP doing? SMTP is doing what? It is just converting your mail into ASCII value. Okay. Now you are familiar that all the alphabets, it may be capital letter, it may be small letter, or whatever the special characters, everything is encoded with the ASCII value. It may be 7-bit or 8-bit. Okay. Now these messages which are having their ASCII values, please pay attention, this is important. Whenever I am sending any message and the messages which are having their corresponding ASCII values, those messages will be only transferred by using SMTP protocol. By transferring, or it can be only transferred by using SMTP protocol. But what about the messages which are not having their corresponding ASCII values? For example, you can take any example. If I'm talking about any other language, if I'm talking about Chinese, okay, the Chinese, how do I convert that Chinese, the language of China or the Chinese language into ASCII value? If that Chinese value doesn't have their corresponding ASCII values. Or if you take example, if I want to transmit the audio signal or if I want to transmit the video signal through SMTP, it is not possible. It is not possible. You just keep in your mind that whatever the messages which are having their corresponding ASCII values, they are only transferred by using this SMTP protocol. Now, to take care of such non-ASCII messages which are not having their corresponding ASCII representation, then for that we have an extension. And that extension is called as MIME. That extension is called as MIME. So MIME is not a protocol. MIME is not a protocol. It is an extension. It is an extension used for non-ASCII representation of the messages which I need to transmit through the mail. Okay. So using this extension along with this protocol, I will be able to transmit the messages which are not having corresponding ASCII values. So that is the meaning of, or that is the significance, or that is the importance of this MIME. Okay. So many of the students have the confusion, sir, whether this is a protocol. No, it is not a protocol. It is an extension along with this SMTP. Along with this SMTP. So protocol is SMTP, extension is MIME. Okay. So for this to explain you, there is a simple diagram. Please draw along with me. There is a simple diagram. So you have the user A, and here you have a user B. User A wants to send the mail to the user B. Okay. So this user A will send the message by using the MIME protocol, MIME extension. So before this MIME extension, the message which are non-ASCII code. So I can write down here non-ASCII code or non-ASCII messages or non-ASCII mail. Okay. So user A by using MIME will be able to convert this non-ASCII into ASCII by using this extension, and then by using the SMTP you will be able to transmit the data. In between, if you want, you can just write down it is email system. Now this transferring of the message is by SMTP. Here you can say by using SMTP, because transferring of the mail is by using this protocol. Okay. At the receiver end, again you have MIME. At the receiver end, again you have MIME. Okay. And that MIME will convert this message which is ASCII coded into non-ASCII code. So you can take an example of a Chinese language which is non-ASCII code. So you are if you want to send some message or some message by using the Chinese language, then non-ASCII code will be Chinese language. MIME will convert that non-ASCII into ASCII. You will transfer that message using the SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, to the email system. The receiver B will receive that message. Using the MIME extension, it will convert that ASCII code into non-ASCII. So I can write down what is the output of MIME. I can write down the output of MIME. It is 7-bit ASCII. So as far as MIME is concerned, the output is 7-bit ASCII value or ASCII code. Here also, it is 7-bit ASCII code. So can you see here, your SMTP is favorable, or it is favoring. It is supporting 7-bit ASCII. If I do not have ASCII, I cannot transmit the mail using SMTP protocol. That is as simple as possible. So convert non-ASCII into 7-bit ASCII code by using extension MIME, and then transmit the message in the email system using SMTP. Receiver also 7-bit ASCII, convert into 7-bit ASCII into non-ASCII. So by using MIME. So whatever you are doing here, the same thing is getting reversed here, and you will be getting the non-ASCII code. So this is a simple MIME. Now, if I want to give more security to this MIME, then you have the concept which is called as secure MIME. So you have secure multi-purpose internet mail extension. That's why you have not MIME, it is called as S-MIME. It is called as S/MIME, or it is front slash. Okay, S/MIME. So secure multi-purpose internet mail protocol will follow the same scenario with more security. That is why it is called secure. Okay. So write down some sentence on this. MIME, please write down. If you have drawn this diagram, write down. MIME is a supplementary protocol that allows, supplementary protocol को underline करो. I am not saying it is an email protocol. It is a supplementary protocol या फिर extension. Okay. MIME is a supplementary protocol that allows non-ASCII data to be sent through SMTP. MIME is a supplementary protocol that allows non-ASCII data to be sent through SMTP. Bracket में लिखो simple mail transfer protocol. Simple mail transfer protocol. Simple mail transfer protocol. The next one, MIME is not an email protocol. Email protocol को underline करो. It is not an email protocol and cannot replace SMTP. This is also important. I cannot replace my SMTP. You will say, sir, MIME is converting into 7-bit and you will transfer. No, I have to go with this protocol, SMTP protocol. आपकी syllabus में SMTP detail में नहीं है, but you should know that whatever the mails you are sending, that is following the protocol, which is simple mail transfer protocol. तो आपने क्या लिखा? MIME is not an email protocol and cannot replace SMTP, comma, it is only an extension to SMTP. It is only an extension to SMTP. So they are part and parcel of each of a single thing. They are part and parcel of a email system. They will go hand in hand. MIME and SMTP will go hand in hand. And when MIME will come into picture whenever you are dealing with non-ASCII code. Whenever you are dealing with non-ASCII code. That is the meaning. Okay. Now write down MIME headers. MIME headers. MIME headers. अभी जो हम मेल भेज रहे हैं उसका हेडर का फॉर्मेट क्या है? दैट इज द मीनिंग. हम जो मेल भेज रहे हैं उसका हेडर का फॉर्मेट क्या है? सो राइट डाउन MIME हेडर. MIME header. Write on the first one. Before writing down the first point, write down something about the MIME header. Write down, it can be added to the original email. It can be, what is MIME header? It can be added to the original email, header section to define the transformation parameter, to define the transformation parameters. So we should know under the MIME header which are the parameters. So the total there are 5 parameters, and this MIME header is attached or added to the original email header section. और MIME के header के 5 components कौन से? Number 1, write down. Number one, MIME version. Now there are different versions of MIME. Okay, so currently mostly it is used 1.1. So mostly or currently we are using 1.1. The next one, content type. Now these are the header. Header means the heading. Your email will have this header. Header का क्या मतलब होता है? अगर मुझे किसी को if I want to send the mail, you will be writing किसको भेजना है. 2, you will be writing down the subject. Okay, you will be writing down the subject. If you have some attachment, you will be attaching that file. So these are called as the header. whenever I'm talking about the MIME header, this header will have MIME version, because what different version, there are many versions. So you should, MIME will specify that which specific version I'm using. It will also tell the content type. The content type means what is the type of data you are sending. Okay, so content type means type of data. Type of data. What is the type of data you are sending? The third one, it is the content transfer encoding. Content transfer encoding. Now this particular thing will give you that what you have used, what method you have used to encode the message. So this will give what method is used for encoding the message. हेडर में ये भी रहता है, हेडर में ये भी रहता है कि आपने कौन सा मेथड यूज किया है एनकोडिंग करने के लिए, वो मैसेज को एनकोडिंग करने के लिए आपने कौन सा मेथड यूज किया है. ओके, so the method used to encode the message, so that is called as the content transfer encoding. Fourth one is content ID. Content ID. So content ID is nothing but, for every mail you have a unique ID. So this is nothing but the unique ID. Unique ID of the message or the mail Okay, every mail will have this unique ID. So that is called as a unique ID. And the last one is content description. Content description. Now content description, it only means that describe the content of the message. Describe the content of the message. Describe the content of the message. So this is the message which will have the description of the content of the message. Okay, so content ID, content transfer encoding, content type, and MIME version. So these are the 5 parameters under the MIME header. Okay, so if the question is asked, you can just elaborate those points. Okay, you can elaborate this point. And the last one is left, that is SMIME. Under the SMIME, just write down 4 sentences. These are all theoretical one. So it will be just a short note on this. Okay, just write down 4 sentences on this. Write down the first one, include security service. We are writing for SMIME, secure MIME. So write down first one, include security services. Number 2, uses public key cryptography. Now whatever I am saying you to write down, these are the points which are providing more security to the MIME. Okay, so these are the points which are providing more security to the MIME. For example, like by using the public key cryptography. So we have already studied this. Okay, private key, public key, secret key. Okay, so to provide the security. So second one is uses public key cryptography. The third one is key management. Key management is a combination of X. This is important. The third point is important. I'm writing down here. Key management is a combination of, write down. Third point, key management is a combination of X.509 and PGP. Pretty good privacy. Now key management. Okay, key management. We have studied this key management. But as far as MIME is concerned, we should know the key management by using X.509. So this we have to study. What is X.509? So this is there in your syllabus. X.509 and by PGP. PGP already we have studied when we are dealing with email. Okay, pretty good services, privacy. So X.509 we have to study. Okay, so we'll study in the next lecture. And the last one is provides confidentiality and integrity. Provides confidentiality, provides confidentiality and integrity. Provides confidentiality and integrity. Okay, so you are familiar with these words: confidentiality, integrity. You are familiar with them. Okay, so these are the four important characteristics of secure MIM. These are the four important characteristics of a SMIM. Okay, so thus we have completed 6.1. 6.1 mainly consists of what? PGP, that is the email. Second one is about the IDS, that is intrusion detection system, and the third one is MIME, and in the MIME it is SMIME. So in the MIME we have drawn the block diagram. The same block diagram you can also use for SMIME. But what are the additional features we have? That four additional features I have given. Those four additional features I have given. Okay. In the next class, I'll be talking about 6.3. And in the 6.3, the important thing is it is Kerberos. So we will study this. What is Kerberos? We will see this. What is Kerberos? Okay. So this thing we'll study in the next lecture. Yes, if you have any questions, you can ask. I hope Priyanka ma'am has taken the attendance. Is she there? Priyanka is there? Yes, if you have any questions, you can ask. If attendance is taken, you can leave.